Hey everybody, this is Becca Heyman and you are watching First Line Frenzy live. Today we have special guest Violet Lumani, author of Foretold. This is out now. It's a YA fantasy and I am obsessed with it. We're going to talk about that. We're going to be looking at a dozen first lines and, talking the bookish talk as we do. But we will start in about 5 minutes, so if you're watching this on replay, you can fast forward to skip the niceties. Welcome in everybody coming in now. I think Violet will be here really soon, and so we'll have a few minutes to hang with her before we get to the business of first lines. Hi, John. Hi everybody. It's fall spring here in New England, which is when spring has arrived according to the calendar, but it's still about 30 degrees. So that's always fun. I'm going to try to invite Violet. I'll know I'm basically a Luddite, just disguising myself as someone who knows. Violet, maybe that will work. Let's see if she's here in the room. Violet, hey, it worked.
I'm shocked.
Amazing. I'm gonna move my camera so that you are getting less of my head being cut off. I realize that I have a tendency to sit way, way, way too close, and I think it probably freaks people out. Let me fix that. No, that's not working either. Hi, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. I had a puking 4-year-old at 2 a.m., so I am totally with it.
You're feeling amazing today, and motherhood is always a glamorous dream. No, I understand completely. We moved Charlotte to a big girl bed earlier this week when she climbed out of the crib, and then was halfway down the stairs before she was like, ah! She kind of freaked out. She was like, I don't think I'm supposed to do this, but I did it. So then we immediately put her in a big girl bed, and it's been going really well. She likes to stretch out and really live her best tiny person life. Yeah, but we're always now on tenterhooks listening for her open door, because Lord, she's the mischief maker. Gabe was the sweet summer child who would never break a rule.
Yeah,
and she is not that.
Oh,
so
God.
But I'm so glad you're here. We should warn everybody that we're friends, right? So that they know.
We are, and the way we met is Becca skewed my first line, the very first draft I ever sent her. She was like, line feels precious and you're attached, and no, get rid of it.
Well, okay, so it goes back a little further than that, right? Because I met Violet's sister in college at NYU, and it was one of my first creative writing workshops. My minor was in creative writing, and so in one of my first poetry, I think it was my first poetry workshop of that course of study, and we were in this class with a young woman whose poetry was uncomfortably erotic. Every poem. The assignment would be write about a garbage can, and somehow the garbage can was full of used condoms. Everything was so uncomfortable. And Violet and Val and I kind of glommed onto each other as what's going on here? And we have remained bosom pals. She was in my wedding, and we've just remained, close friends for all that time, which doing the math has got to be
a million years.
It's about 20 years that I've known Val, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So anyway, Val was like, oh, my sister's writing this book and it's really good. I'm going to send you the first 50 pages or something. And I read it and I was like, no, this is no, just, I'm not going to read the rest. Tell her to fix this. And that was the beginning.
He sent it without my permission, I will add.
That's true.
First draft, and I was like, this is terrible. And she's like, cool, I'm gonna send it to a professional editor. And I'm like, oh my God. But it motivated me.
But then I was shocked, because then eventually she was like, okay, well, she finished the draft and here it is. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to do this favor for a friend and it's gonna be really awkward. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's so good. And I just obviously devoured it, and those were good times, man. And then so then I guess the rest of the story, you can tell them about the work conference. We kind of harangued you to come.
Yeah, so I was on maternity leave, so I was the hottest of hot messes. But my sister was like, you have to go to the work conference. It's Becca's brainchild, and it brings together editors and agents and writers. And it's going to be in New York City. And I already signed you up, and good luck. I was like, okay, cool. And so I went, and I was just floored by the whole experience. It was just so lovely, so wonderful. An agent was interested in my work at that time, but I was
but that's an interesting point, right? Because I had an agent come in late to the conference because one of my agents couldn't stay for Saturday, so they could stay to take meetings Friday, but I needed a replacement agent on Saturday. And so I met this agent through another friend, and we got to talking. Of course, it's not a mystery. The name is in the back of the book. It's John Darga. And some of you have seen me with John on First Line Frenzies through Reedsy. So I wrote to John, and I was like, I'd love to have you at the conference. He was newer. He had just transitioned from being an editor to being an agent. And I said, I can't put you in with one-on-one, so you're not going to meet potential clients necessarily in that one-on-one environment. But here are three samples. Two samples. I said, there's two people coming, and I'm sending you their work. If you have time to read it, read it. I just after talking to you and speaking to these authors, I think that you would vibe. Lo and behold, not for nothing, he did sign both of you.
Yes.
So my judgment is impeccable.
You're a matchmaker.
But I remember, so John walked into our Friday night cocktail party, which is one of the best parts of the work conference. We kind of take over this little bar near Little Italy, and it's just open bar, lots of food, lots of happiness everywhere. And John walked in, and we had just met, and I literally grabbed a cocktail from a tray and was like, here, I need you to meet someone. And we had not actually talked about whether or not he loved Violet's sample, but I just knew that he would. I mean, I just knew it. And so I dragged him over, and I grabbed Vi, and I was like, John, this is Violet. Violet, this is John. Bye. And then they didn't stop talking for 3 days, right? Pretty much it was 3 days of nonstop talking.
That's how it went. It was writers love at first sight. It was wonderful.
And they're just a match made in heaven, which is so sweet.
Can you imagine if he had been so I read it, and
I know. I only as I was walking away, I was like, oh my gosh, what if he didn't like it? But I think within 10 seconds, he was like, hi, oh my God, I love you. Right?
He pulled notes out of his pocket. Was like, I have notes and ideas.
That's very typical John, to be like, oh, just in case we met tonight, I actually have all of my notes for you.
Exactly. Yes. So I credit you with all of that. You're wonderful.
Well, you can't matchmake unless there's something great to matchmake. And so this is a good segue. We're going to talk more about writing this and writing the sequel and debuting during a pandemic. But I want to talk a little bit about First Line Frenzy. So someone is going to win a copy of Foretold, not this one. This one came with a note from John. So I'm keeping this. This one's mine. But I will be sending one of you, the author of her favorite line of the day, is going to get a copy of Foretold, which you definitely want to win. It's about how do I make this pithy? It's about a scryer, so someone who can sort of foretell the future, foretold, who also is living with OCD and grief and first love and really great banter. So there's a lot in here that you need to have. I just love this book. And the audio book is great. I had a hand in choosing the audiobook narrator. I texted Violet one day, and I was like, you need to talk to this lady about narrating your book. And she was available. So really, I'm very, very bossy as a
lobby. Yeah.
Bossy friend. So First Line Frenzy, we're going to look at 12 first lines. They are in a variety of genres. This is a sort of a project of first impressions. So we want to hear your gut reaction. And I will take care of most of the technical stuff, like that's a split infinitive. All the boring stuff where people get up and make a new Nespresso. That's my part. And you can just, go with your emotions. Okay, so this is the high-tech part of our program where I just flip my camera around to look at my screen. Okay, so this is my kitchen, and this is my computer. Okay. Bloop. Okay. I'm going to pull this closer. I swear it works. Someone is going to come up with a better system for this, and I'm going to Give them a big high five. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Can everybody see that? Hit the heart button if you can see this, and it's fine. There's going to be like a small delay while I wait for everybody else's validation. Okay. All right, here we go. So let's get started. Let's dive in. This is an adult mystery, line 91 of the year. And it says, Sophie Ferrari hadn't imagined life was about to throw a big and murderous wrench in her way as she increased her speed, jogging alongside the reflection pool at the National Mall.
So first impression, I think that there's a lot in there, and it's good, but I wish, rather than starting with what she hadn't imagined, I would love to start with maybe some action. Sophie jogged, or raced along the reflection pool of the National Mall, and
maybe unaware that life was about to throw a big murderous wrench in her path. Yeah, I kind of like that, because if you really look at this, her way, if we change this to her path, then we get like a little connection between a jogging path and like a larger life path. And I really like that. I think that's very clever. That's a great edit. Hold on, let me see if we can actually type this out. Oh, come on, Becca. Date. Okay. So like maybe Sophie started her, is it the thing where can you lap it? Is it like a rectangle? I don't run anywhere ever.
Sure. Taste.
Or like Sophie increased her pace. I want something like runnery. That's a real word.
That's
Sophie increased her pace
on
her second lap around the National Mall reflection pool, unaware that life was about. I love the big murderous wrench.
Yeah, me too.
That's really funny. Murderous wrench in her path. How do we feel about that?
I like it. It's funny. If I didn't like murderous wrench so much, I would have even maybe made the suggestion like, what if there was an actual something that she lays eyes on, or
like trips over. This could be really funny if she falls over something. And like Sophie tripped over, Sophie didn't trip over the murderous wrench life threw in her path. Instead, it was an aardvark, or like, what, you know what I mean? She like slipped on a banana peel. I think a lot of it depends on the overall tone, right? So this is supposed to be an adult mystery, but mystery can be cozy and kind of funny, or mystery can be serious and very grim. So I think our point is put the action or the movement, right? Put the movement before the sort of punchline.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's a good thought. I like that thought. Oh, if you have a favorite as we go, you need to mark it down, and then at the end you'll surprise us with your choice.
All right. Perfect.
No pressure at all. Okay, let's go on. Let's move on. The next line is adult sci-fi, and it says, the heads of Taral's king and queen knocked a sticky beat as they dangled at his side. Their heads and Taral now belong to him. Oh, y'all, this is a bad comma splice. My friends, a comma splice happens when a comma stands in place of end punctuation. Now, we try to give people the benefit of the doubt that they just don't realize it's a comma splice and not that they're trying to break the first line frenzy rules, because really this needs to be a period. This is the first sentence.
Yeah. And I would that I don't know if you're taking it this way, but I almost feel like the main character is pushed to the side in favor of these heads, which I love of them knocking a sticky beat. But I would love to have a little bit of, we get that maybe he's murderous, or I don't know.
Yeah, certainly carrying a couple of heads is a real, it's a mood, it's a big swinging head energy, what I mean?
I think breaking it up does make it better.
Yes. So one of the tenets of First Line Frenzy, of course, is to centralize our main characters whenever possible. And so I agree with you that it would be nice to name the carrier of appendages. And then there's not really conflict here. There's this very enticing, sticky beat, which I think everybody would agree is the best part of the sentence.
Yeah.
I don't 100%, I would have to give this more thought about how to fix it. But I would say we desperately need some centralizing of the main character and probably a little hint of conflict. Like, where is he going? Like, is he walking into their throne room? Is he about to become like an emperor? Or is he like the woodsman in Snow White and he's like bringing the heads to his liege?
Yeah.
I have questions. But I'm interested, right?
Yeah.
Like, always interested in a casual decapitation, right?
It's very, I have to say, yeah.
Yeah, always interested in a little decapitation, but maybe would love some more info.
Yep.
Okay. And no comma splices, my friends. All right. This is a YA fantasy, so I try to put a few Easter eggs, because this is your genre that you write in. Though the people don't know that you also write in another genre, and I won't tell them unless you want me to.
Sure.
So Violet also has written a rom-com that is so flipping funny. I don't know. It's a laugh, cry, pee your pants a little bit kind of situation. It's so funny, and I love it so much, and I can't wait for the world to read it. So there is there's some romance in here and some YA fantasy in here as well. So awesome. Number 93 YA fantasy. There was once a village so hungry and desperate that it created a god, for gods are created, not born.
Huh. I like this. I wish I knew why they were hungry, why they were desperate, or something, like,
yes. This gives me big, did you read, Strange the Dreamer?
I have, it's on my TBR.
Oh, I love Strange the Dreamer. I love it. It is so lyrical and so just, it's a beautiful book, and the mood is very, it's like crisp air and also like starlight. It's like, how people describe YA boy smell in like contemporary, where like he smelled like rainfall and dreams. The book feels like that. I don't know what else to say. It just definitely, it's got that vibe. And this gives me that vibe too.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that this would be more effective with more specificity. For example, the villagers of village name had grown so hungry and desperate after 6 seasons of drought.
Yep.
That their desperation, if they had like grown so hungry and desperate that after 6 seasons of drought, that their pain or their suffering created a god, something like that. Yep. I love, and also this, for gods are created, not born. You've just shown us. You've just shown us, so you don't have to tell us, right?
Yep.
It takes itself a little bit too seriously, I think.
Yeah.
It's also obviously a prologue, which is gonna grind my gears.
I do like the vibe, though, I have to say. So
it's very vibey. I guess like, I really always challenge an author who feels they need to set a mood with a prologue, right? If the prologue is about cosmology, meaning the creation of a world, it might just be some lazy, like, front-loaded exposition, when what we need is more integrated cultural cues throughout the entire process.
Yeah.
So, so I think this is great vibes, but not our favorite execution. We need more specificity and maybe an actual character.
Yeah.
Moving right along. I just want to say, Morgan, I see that you just got here, but I think we did your line first. So you might have to back it up and watch the replay, Morgan. Sorry about that. Okay. No, I don't like cherry pick whose lines are going in. I just happen to match this author in their line. Okay. That was a little bit of a pivot, and now we're back on track. Adult romance. At least Nora wasn't dead, which was more than she could say for the woman who'd gotten her into this mess. It feels very romantic. I'm definitely sold on the romance. What do you say?
Yeah.
It feels like a thriller, doesn't it?
It does. Or even like a cozy mystery, because it's a little bit quirky, the tone, but yeah.
And it might be. My First Lane Frenzy form, I had already listed like 25 genres, and so I couldn't list subgenres. Maybe I should add a subgenre category. I think I might. I think I'm going to do that when this is over. I'm going to add an optional subgenre designation. But then, like, people are going to get upset because I'm not going to have their weird niche subgenre. Like, well, I'm writing furry positive romance, and I'm not going to know what to do with that.
Oh my God, where's the alien tentacle romance? No.
Alana says, yes, add a subgenre. I'll think about it. Cool. Maybe I'll crowdsource the subgenres that we need most.
I like it.
Okay, so back to the issue at hand here. Nora is not dead. But my point is, this might be a romantic thriller.
Yeah, it's possible. In which case I would say, I would like to know a little bit more about this mess, maybe. It doesn't have to give everything away, because obviously, what's to come will describe it. It would be nice to get a taste of it, I think.
Yeah, mess is a little vague. And also, oops, sorry, I didn't plug my computer in. It was a choice between plugging in my computer and plugging in my phone, and I chose the phone. So yeah, I think there's nothing inherently wrong with this, but it also doesn't move me any particular amount.
Yeah.
So it is, I would say, like lawful good,
Yeah.
It's very, it's not going to turn anybody off, but I don't think it's going to blow anybody's hair back either.
Yeah. Like a little bit of tweaking. Yep.
Yeah. And it could get there, but I don't think it's there yet. But it's inoffensive to me, which I think, as we all know, is halfway to a gold star. Okay. Here we have an adult thriller suspense. Everybody knows that I like to include the adult thriller suspense lines in these First Line Frenzy lives, because I'm often too afraid to read adult thriller suspense, and so I'm only slightly underqualified to talk about it. I just spent 6 days hiding in my car, and I'm pretty sure that Dan is dead.
I just spent 6 days. I like this sentiment. It feels like a little bit of a factoid, or
could you mean a fact cake?
A fact, perhaps.
The fact cake is, again, part of our little First Line Frenzy lexicon, and it is based on my friend's sister-in-law's wedding rehearsal dinner cake, which said, "Tomorrow you will be my wife." And it's a fact cake. It states the purpose of the cake, and it's funny, but also kind of bare, I guess, a little Spartan. I don't know how 6 days hiding in the car connects to Dan being dead.
I'm getting fear, but I think it could be. I would love.
Do you get fear from this? I don't get fear from this.
Like hiding, I guess, conveys a little bit of fear.
Oh, yes. Okay, right. Hiding in the car. That does make sense.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Dan's dead. Hiding is also. I don't know quite how to fix this. But that's if that's what they're intending to give off. This feels so academic almost.
Yes.
Thriller.
Yeah, very academic. So I guess maybe the fix is to decentralize. This hiding is very curious. I agree with you. Part of the reason hiding is so curious is because, number one, have we emerged from the car in those 6 days? Like, what is happening in that car? And then were we hiding from Dan, or were we hiding from whoever killed Dan? All of this is a little bit of a question mark. And so I might start by saying something like, after 6 nights of sleeping in my car, or after 6 days of living out of my car parked in a remote lot behind, the King of Prussia Mall, I emerged when I was sure Dan was dead, or something like that.
Yeah.
That was like a very rocky road, and I'm sorry you had to just witness my brain working there, but we need a lot more specificity, and
Yeah.
I need less wishy-washy vacillating. Pretty sure and hiding both feel very passive, not in the sense of passive voice, not in the grammatical way, but in the sense that already plot is happening to our protagonist instead of our protagonist's choices resulting in the production of plot.
Yep. I agree.
I could be reading too far into this, but I want to see a little more action, right? I don't want to come off of 6 days spent in the car. I want to feel the moment of emerging from the car or something like that.
Yes.
It's all just a little too side character in someone else's story vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to move on from this because I think I could talk about it for too long, which happens to me sometimes. Woo! As usual, you know, when you see this many words, it's either adult fantasy or literary fiction, and it's door number 1. A burst of color reflected from the silver bracelet laying on the black velvet pad, the prisms dancing across my granddaughter's unruly raven curls, framing her bent head, her focus intense on the chain in front of her.
So for me, there are so many colors and visual that my eyes don't really know. There's a lot of words.
There's a lot to look at here.
Yeah. And a lot to picture too. And I'm still not sure of what's happening in or what the conflict is. Is there about the chain? Is it is it magical? I'm assuming adult fantasy. Is there danger inherent? And so that's where my head goes with this. It's intriguing, but I think it could probably be pared back quite a bit, and then maybe something about the chain teased out.
I would bet like a solid $25 that this author is seeing the movie version of their story in their head, and they're writing a novel version of the screenplay that they're seeing acted out in their mind.
Yeah.
And the reason I suspect this is because look at the visual. First of all, we're relying entirely on visual cues, which drives me bonkers. Burst of color, silver bracelet, black velvet pad, prisms. Technically, that's a rainbow reference.
Yeah.
And then unruly raven curls. That's 5 colors. Why?
Yeah. Yes.
Why? There's just no reason for this. And again, I think opening with a vivid image is far less compelling in a book than it is in a movie, right? So like maybe this would be a really enticing, interesting image in film, but it is not enticing. I mean, we learn nothing.
Yeah. I would
look how many inanimate objects are named before we get to a human, and that human isn't the main character, or at least it's not the narrator, right? The narrator is the grandmother or grandfather. We don't know. Grandparent.
I would love like something. I'm trying to think how I would fix it. I'm not quite sure, but maybe something akin to like, I breathe in the lemon lemon scent from my granddaughter's curls as she
is she styling with Pledge? Why does her hair smell like lemons, Violet?
I just you don't
Is that how you get such nice blonde color?
First day of school in the 7th grade, I thought I was using hairspray because I was a big girl now, and instead I used like cleaning spray.
No.
I went through the day smelling like lemon something. I think it was bathroom cleaner.
I'm so sorry. Why were those two things next to each other? I don't, it's hard to know. We can't know.
I don't know, but yeah, first day of school, 7th grade, new school.
Wow. Look how, see, you thought you were over that trauma, and then you assigned this poor character a lemon fresh.
You just brought it back.
Yeah.
Therapist and I have something to talk about, I guess.
I'm sorry. Now there's a truck backing up outside too, so there's just a lot of trauma happening for everybody. Look, to the author I say, character and conflict. Looking at a necklace, like even looking at a necklace with an intense focus does not a conflict make. So I would say maybe fast forward 2 minutes to whatever happens with this. Like maybe it bursts into flame or melts. Maybe she has like smelting powers. We don't know, but get us to action and really dial back your visual input, because you're going to give people a headache with all these colors. It's like being trapped in an ABBA music video. Okay. Number 97, adult general commercial. What it feels like to be alone and being alone are not the same thing, although 19-year-old Sienna Cipriano would beg to differ. We don't get to talk about this too much, but I really am anti-generalization or anti-life lesson in line 1, unless you're turning it on its head. You know,
yeah.
This is, for me, a little preachy and a little emo at the same time.
I would love to see it like her like showing her alone in a crowd or something, so that you get the sentiment without being told it. And then what comes next, Sienna, I don't know, like move through the crowd of, I don't know, my brain.
Like maybe she's like walking through prom and she like sees everybody else dancing and she feels like invisible or something, like no one can see her. But again, this is adult fiction. So why, I think, again, I have questions about this night. Why are we establishing so early that this person's 19 years old? Is it because it's like sneakily not, it maybe Sienna, is Sienna even the main character, or is this going to go in a different direction? I don't know.
It almost felt like new adult, or I think that's what it's right
Yes.
after.
Like the shadow genre
that
like doesn't really exist. It's like the dark web. It's out there, but we just don't know where. We don't know when we step into it, but then your identity gets stolen and things happen. I can't get behind something this precious. Like, this is very, I don't know, man. Feels a lot like something I would have written in my high school poetry journal.
You told me, which was, you came up with this line and I feel like you're in love with it, let it go, and then see what comes next. Have to eliminate the line. What would you put in its place? And it's almost inevitably going to be better than the line.
I just, show us this. You can show us this without telling us this. This is just, I don't know. It's kind of a nothing burger for me, and it thinks it's a something sandwich. And I just want it. I want you to show us this instead of telling us about it. This is a lot of facts as well about Sienna, that she's 19 and this is her last name. I don't know how much any of that matters.
Yeah.
So we need more showing and less telling. Look, YA Fantasy again. Kelsey Priest. It's like I don't put this document together myself. Sheltered among the clouds. Oh, this is the one with the slash. I did notice this. Okay. Sheltered among the clouds, Ren eagerly awaited for the impending siege to begin. Oh dear. His tinted / shaded body length wings, the only disturbance to the sky's otherwise tranquil slumber.
So
that face was a very telling face. So I
have a very expressive face.
That's why I do too, which is why I go into radio mode and you can't see my face.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. XOXO.
Instead of my face. Let's see.
We need to talk about this. We need to talk about Bruno. These are synonyms. We do not use both. My guess is that maybe this person had planned to pick one, but then copy pasted their line into my form and just forgot.
Yeah.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt that that's what happened. What do we prefer?
I mean, I would prefer go with a color. What does shaded mean? Shaded body wings, tinted body length. Like, it's not, a Mercedes window. It's, it's so.
Yeah. Tinted what color? Like, what is this? Yeah. We don't even know. Like, and we don't know their texture.
Yeah. Is it unexpected? Are they pink? I don't know. But like,
I also don't think anybody anticipates that a person or a humanoid being with wings is going to have like little beef size wings, or like, right? I think we assume that they're big enough to hoist whatever creature that is, whatever a wren is.
Yeah, and he's already sheltered amongst the clouds, so we know that they're not just for show. So I don't think we need to like get into. I get the inclination to try to make somebody visualize what you have in your head, but I think necessary probably there.
I mean, real talk, this is all sentence two, right?
Yeah.
Because it has a semicolon, which is an indicator. Oh, John, we have a comment from John, and he says, I think tinted might mean like a window. Right, but like what color?
Yeah.
I mean, window tint, it can be grayish, it can be bluish. Like, what does that mean? And why not just say opaque?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Opaque.
But also like opaque wings, so can we see the veins? I don't know. That feels like a very Sarah J. Maas flex to be like leathery, like muscular, flexy. She's always expressing a lot with their wings, which, you know, if you like trash romance fantasy, you appreciate that, which look, I do. It's not that I don't.
And so impending siege is interesting. Awaited, it feels like there's not enough action there. He shelters clouds. I would love to, like, does he have bloodlust on his mind? Is he twirling his spear or?
Oh yeah. Spear twirling is how I always wait for the battle to begin. Sometimes, yeah, we do it. Look, I think the bigger point here is that we are opening on a moment of stillness when we could be opening on a moment of action. Yeah. Right? Don't wait for the siege. Give me like Ren, you know, I don't know. How does he kill the first person he kills? Or like, is he inside the Trojan horse? There's just a lot more that you could show us. There's too much focus on the fact that this person is this being is winged. I'm trying to be like considerate of the fact that I assume this is a humanoid, but we can't actually know, right? If they're among the clouds, we already know they're in the sky. To then devote so much language to the wings.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe Ren plunged, since we're going with spear, Ren plunged his spear into the whatever, and then took to the sky, sheltered him, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like that. Like Ren took to the skies, yanking his, you know, insert phallic weapon here.
Yeah.
You know, back, you know, whatever. I just think show us him being in the sky. We'll assume it's wings unless you tell us it's a jetpack. And there's just time for that later. Like these are just a lot of unimportant details to include. So you have to focus on character, conflict, maybe even a little movement. I dislike starting at a stop, which is what that is. Okay. Yeah. A YA mystery, my favorite kind of mystery because it's just scary enough to keep me interested, but not make me lose sleep. So like that's always a win. I allowed this. I know everybody's going to say this breaks the rule because How Does One Breathe is its own sentence, but I wanted to talk about what comes next, which is because at this particular moment in time, I can't seem to remember how to do the one simple thing that is supposed to come naturally to everyone.
This is a long way of saying I forgot to breathe.
It's so many words for, and first of all, like, I don't know. Have you ever like personally forgotten to breathe?
I'm asthmatic, so when but I have fallen prey to this, and then I'm like, oh, you know, she's always like holding her breath, really, and then I have to go back and edit all of that out. So I commiserate. I really do.
I've thought about starting a second Instagram account called The Breath She Didn't Know She Was Holding, and just list. It would just be like quotes from books with a page number, like this is the page when the person let go of the breath they didn't know they were holding. It's everywhere. It's like herpes. It's in every book I read. It drives me crazy, and it's not exclusive to any genre. It is legitimately everywhere. But this is so many. First of all, how does one breathe is kind of a dumb rhetorical question. And I'm not trying to be mean, but like, I don't know, by expanding their lungs, there's a real clear answer here. And I just show us what made this person catch their breath.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. There's gasp. Give me a gasp or like I don't know. Show us why. Don't tell us what.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that a pithy piece of writing advice? I think it might be.
I think
Which you
so.
should always be very wary of pithy writing advice, of course, but I think in this moment, it is certainly justified.
Agree.
Okay. Oop, oop. I happen to know, I don't know, as author, I saw that you were here, and I don't know if you're still here, but here you are. Okay.
Okay.
I've always imagined that tiny patch of gray matter that stores emotionally charged memories in the brain to be like the back of my underwear drawer, the place I bury the super private things I don't want anyone to find.
Always imagine that tiny patch of gray matter. I think in the brain is probably superfluous, right? Gray matter storing memory.
Yes. So what I guess my question is there, I love specific names for things. And my example is always the word Zamboni, because it only means one thing ever. There is no confusion about what a Zamboni is. And so I would like to know the name of the part of the brain that stores memory. Is there a specific part, or is this just sort of like an imagined, does our character know the name of that part?
Like I wouldn't necessarily know, like, oh, it's the left lobe or the amygdala. So
right, but like I love what that would say about our character.
Yeah.
I've always imagined so we have Alana says the amygdala, right? Which, like, I don't know, that sounds right.
Yeah.
So let's just say for this. Oh, and Lauren confirms, yes, it's the amygdala. So maybe something like, I've always imagined the amygdala is like the back of my underwear drawer, where I bury the super private things I don't want anyone to find.
Yeah.
I think then the context of what you imagine that place to be fills in what it is.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of comments on this line, which means people like it. Tiny patch of gray matter is kind of vague. That's from Abirami, and I agree with you, because the brain itself can be divided into two parts, white matter and gray matter. Well, that's something I didn't know before. I think gray matter is what, like, many people would recognize to be a brain reference. But again, I think if our character knows what the amygdala is and what it does, let's call a spade or an amygdala an amygdala.
I agree, and I'm glad nobody called me out for mispronouncing amygdala.
I think plenty of people say amygdala. I think it's an emphasis issue.
Star Wars, the episodes 1 through 3. Sorry,
totally valid.
Okay, so
I had an ex-boyfriend, of course, named Dan, because I don't know if you all know this, but I dated 5 Dans before I married one. I had 5 boyfriends named Dan, and I finally married the last one. And I almost didn't date him because his name was Dan. And I was like, not another Dan. I'm done with Dans. But then I married him, so it's fine.
That's of a book, Becca. 5 Dans.
It will eventually get in a book. No one. That's my idea. Everyone, don't even think about taking it. It's mine. But one of the Dans, I think the second Dan, laughed at me mercilessly for saying Ari instead of Arai. I think I was 15. I had only ever seen the word in writing. I never knew that when people said Arai, they were saying the word that looks like Ari. I couldn't have known. So, like, maybe I just, I was more well-read than well-spoken. And it's no wonder it didn't work out between us, quite frankly, because what kind of an asshole says, actually, I think couldn't have just said, hey, actually, I think you mean a rye. And doesn't it totally look like Aubrey? You're totally right, and I love you. But barring that response, all to say, I don't think you need to feel bad about that.
Yeah.
That's my story. This is why I never finish these on time, because I end up telling a lot of stories. Dealey says, my daughter says oinks instead of onyx. And I think that's a totally valid malapropism, and I love it.
Yeah.
My son used to say shit instead of fish. No one knows why. We definitely took him to the aquarium on purpose during that phase of his life, and it was the best, most hilarious trip to an aquarium that anyone has ever had. So, oh, wait a second. Angus Fan says it should be the hippocampus that stores the memories, like long-term memories. Shit, we're throwing down the brain.
Twist.
Love you brainiacs out there.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so whatever part of the brain we need to name drop here, name drop that part of the brain. Because we love it. We love a Zamboni. We love a specific noun, right?
Yep.
I love the idea of this though, and I like the brain as underwear drawer analogy a lot.
Me too.
Yeah. It makes me so curious about this person. And I like that they have like kind of maybe a salacious underwear drawer and the knowledge of the hippocampus or amygdala, as the case may be. Like find me a woman who does both, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Guys, that was the 100th line of the year. Did you see that?
I
line
did.
100. That's, I mean, today is the 90th day of 2022, but we have covered 100 lines and we have 2 more. So if you're wondering who's defeating time, it's me. Okay. Line 101, YA fantasy. Quinn's sweaty hands struggle to get a grip on her crossbow as it quivers before her. Name that problem.
I wish it wasn't the split second before she loses her. I feel like this could have been, I don't know, let's see, Quinn's sweaty hands.
Yeah, her disembodied hands. Here are my disembodied hands. They're doing things and I'm not in control.
Yeah.
Quinn's sweaty hands. No. Quinn, she struggles to get a grip. It's not just her sweaty hands, unless they detach from her body. Or there are those weird, like, baby hands on a stick. You know? This is a disembodied limb problem. We see this a lot with eyes. His eyes tracked my progress. No. His gaze, he tracked my progress with his gaze, or he just tracked my progress. Because unless he has you low-jacked, how else would he do it, right?
Yep.
So we try to avoid disembodied limbs. But I agree with you. This is the moment before the moment we want to see.
Yeah.
Show me the shot going wide, you know, and what that means, why we care.
Yeah. Sweaty hands.
You know, it happens to the best of us. I get it. You know, I get some big Katniss Everdeen vibes, you know?
Me too.
Like the close-up where you, like, see her press the wire part of the bow into her face and, like, exhale. And you're like, I don't think you should put your face on that. I think that's a good way to mess up your face. But what do I know? I don't hunt for anything. I hunt for sales on shoes.
Oh, my gosh. Fun. I am nasty with a bow and arrow.
Are you really?
Yeah. The only reason I did not join our college team was because I was afraid of having one muscular arm and the other one not so big. So I was like, vanity. Is
that a big problem among the archery set?
Well, not if you're, like, you know, working out properly, I'm sure, but you're
right.
You're drawing
but
back.
You had already decided to not work out properly, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So I tried out, made the Columbia team, and then was
my gosh.
Yeah, no, thank you. They set me up with a purple bow and arrow, and I was like, this is too precious. Violet with the purple.
Your colors were also purple and white?
Was that?
Or were the Columbia colors also purple and white?
They just gave me from the equipment room, and they're like, here, you can have a purple bow.
Oh, Violet gets a violet bow. Wow. That is very twee.
Guys, never. Thank you.
Yeah, that would have been a piece out for me. But look at you. I mean, I'm really impressed. I'm going to have to find a way to we're going to have to find ourselves on, like, a target practice situation.
Work retreat, we can have up like an old-timey Regency house party.
Oh my gosh, let's make the next work conference actually a Regency house party.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I'm down.
I swoon. I'm already into this. Okay. Yes.
Adult romance. All right.
Yes. Okay. So this is our last line, and then we're going to talk about our favorite line and award the book, and then we're going to talk about bookish things for like 10 or 12 minutes, and then I will release you back into the wild.
Sounds good.
Adult romance, as one does. Rosalind laced her worn brown leather boots with quick, sharp movements.
This feels like a sentence that would be okay somewhere within the first paragraph or something, but we don't get a sense of where she's like purpose or where she's going or conflict or,
Yeah.
you know, is she just doing that because she's a severe like spinster, or you know, a governess, and so she's very, you know, I'm not, I get a sense of her a little bit with this, but not of the conflict, or I mean it's romance, but still.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's very hard to tell what's going on here. I think if she were lacing her boots under a ball gown, or you know, we just don't know the time. We don't know anything about where she is, when she is, how she is, or why she is.
Yeah.
And I think it's not, it doesn't pass the so what's next test.
Yeah.
Which is an important barometer of success in First Line Frenzy land.
Yep. I agree.
Okay. I'm coming back. I always warn people that you're going to see my face again because it can be very jarring. Here I am. I'm back. So we need to pick a favorite for the day. I felt like we had a lot of good edits today, actually. So good job, us. But we need to pick a fave and award a copy of your book. So you can pick a favorite for any reason. So you go ahead and tell me what you like best.
I would have to say number 100, and not just because it's a round number. And, you know, supermarket sweeps, it should have when it popped up. But I thought, you know, changing the brain, the piece of the brain to be specific is not that big an edit. And overall, I really like the sentence. And
I think that image of the underwear drawer, like the memory as an underwear drawer, and and it gives us the specific reason, and it's not just like because it's messy, but it's because where I put the super private things is so intriguing to me that I like cannot wait to find out what happens next. So the author of number 100, I got you. You will be getting a copy of Foretold, which I love. So do you want to talk? What do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about this book? Do you want to talk about writing something that's own voices, #own voices for OCD? Do you want to talk about debuting in a panini? Like, what do we want to talk about?
Oh gosh. I guess maybe I can touch on all of the above quick. Let's see if I can do it in one sentence. No, I'm kidding.
No, one sentence and only one. So talk a little bit. So I think you had kind of a different kind of journey to debut, in part because you didn't query traditionally.
Yes. Yeah.
You're welcome. While you're talking, I'm going to close up on this incredible cover, which you had a hand in designing, of course. But like, if you can see it, there's like a pentagram and there's a skull up there. I love a subtle skull. And there's like a tarot card over here. The vibes of this are so gorge.
Yeah.
And crystals, like we love a crystal.
And I did not design it, but I critiqued it a lot. So until
I thought like you had sort of an idea about this, didn't you?
Well, John, my agent, and I, we had a vision for what we were looking for. And it consisted a lot of like, make it like simple and mysterious. So like super helpful feedback. I cannot take credit that we went through the publisher went through a few different artists until we landed on
this one.
Very talented one that put together this cover. And then when we saw it, it was literally just iterating on it.
Who does it say who designed the cover?
Yeah, it is. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on her name, and now.
Oh, it's okay. I'm here at the cover by Shane Layton.
Yeah, there we go.
It's beautiful. It's just really stunning, and I assume she also designed the Scryer's series logo, which is just like, it's so gorge. I love it. I love this. Is such a pretty book.
Yeah, and it was. We went out. So I was super geeked, went through edits with Becca, and then with my agent, we went through further refinements, and then we were like, we're ready to query. It is March 30th, 2020. So pandemic legit had just like, hit, and we were like, hope we're around for, during this apocalypse to sign a contract for this thing. And John was really great. The level set he provided was like, look, we don't know how long this is going to take. We don't know if people are going to, nobody's in the offices. It was just a weird world at that juncture. And so we were like, oh, let's kick it out in the world and hope. And then by September, we had some interest, like a good deal of interest. along the way, people were like, hey, but we're holding off, or, you know, and so then by September, we had a bite, and then we talked about what my vision was for the trilogy. And then I had a book deal by October for, you know, a 3-book deal. So it was a weird journey. That's it. And I wrote the rom-com during the time. So one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was, don't babysit your art. So write a thing or whatever, put it out in the world, and then pretend it doesn't exist. Move on to the next thing, because that goes with publishing. Even, like, don't babysit your reviews, which I did at first, and that was terrible.
Yeah, you had to learn that lesson. Everybody has to. Everyone's like, I will totally be able to read reviews and not take it personally. It's like, will you? Yeah, that's not a thing that happens. But I will say, I want to mention that, you know, one of the things you did was I think it's really, I think a lot of people incorporate, obviously, their own experiences into their work. This is what we mean when we say write what you know. But what you incorporated is a specific experience of OCD, and you actually had sensitivity readers from inside the OCD community, in part because your experience is not representative of all experiences. Yes. And so what was that like, to say, okay, I have a character who experiences this thing that I experienced, but also is going to be critiqued by people who experience this in a different way? What was that like?
It was, it's frightening, because you never want to be callous, and you don't want to hurt anybody inadvertently. And so OCD is as varied as the people that have it. It is so, and also my experience is not 100% what this character experiences, because I don't act on, you know, like all of the if I were to do all the things that I thought of, it would it might look like that. But I have, you know, throughout the years until I reached postpartum OCD, I had a handle on it and didn't even realize I suffered from it. You're just kind of like, oh, that's a weird thing that you're, you know, before you go to catch the bus to high school, you're sorting your brushes from your hair clips, or doom will like strike your family. You know, yeah. You just compartmentalize and move through life, and there's so much happening. And then when I gave birth to my first child, and you're just kind of sitting there like, okay, I'm a broodmare. For me anyway, it was the first time that it caught up with me, and that was the first time I got diagnosed. And so in talking through it, it was like, no, you've had this for a very long time, my friend. And I did not realize. So through the course of writing about postpartum OCD, I discovered just how much it had permeated my life. So it was almost like I discovered a piece of myself I didn't know existed, or that I had carried for so long. And then also you know, putting it out to other people. First of all, it wasn't public knowledge. And so then you're asking other people like, hey, can you judge this super secret part of me and make sure it doesn't affect you and your super secret part of yourself? That was really strange. But also
the decision to label this Own Voices was one that we talked about, and you talked about with John. And we both felt like it was pretty necessary to bring the book out.
Yeah.
Just because we didn't want any reader to think that you were appropriating a condition that that wasn't part of your story, because it's such a big part of so many people's stories. And I think you knew from the get that it probably had to happen, but I think making that conscious decision to step into a public eye and say, yeah, this is something I struggle with, is a very big deal. And good job. Everybody's clapping in their houses. Go clap wherever you are. Not if you're at work, that I understand, but if you can clap. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. You know, I think that was a big moment. I think just in also putting this out as a piece of art that was separate from you. I think also it's like you spend so much time being like, I can be objective about this. We can edit this. We can critique this. We can look at this as like a collection of words that isn't my actual soul between a book cover. But then you have to like reverse that and be like, oh, well, actually, this is a big piece of me. Yeah. And I think that's got to be like a real trip, not necessarily a trip I would like to take.
It totally was. And you know what, once I landed on the heart of what I was trying to get at with the book. So you know, yeah, there's OCD and grief and fun divination or whatever, but ultimately it's like the futility of always worrying about the future, and what that's like. And so I was like, once I had that, I mapped out the rest of the series, and I was like, okay, you know, hammered that out. Book 2 is toxic nostalgia, and how, you know, the past is a great place to visit, but when you want to live there, that's not healthy either. And then, you know, and then
toxic nostalgia. I mean, are we all just basking in that phrase? Woo! Like, that is okay. Toxic nostalgia. Yes.
so
That is a. Did you do that? Is that yours? Did you make that up?
no, I can't take credit for that. I think I've probably read it in
I'm gonna give you credit just because
okay.
you're the first person who said it to me. What a powerful idea. I mean, I of course read a draft of book 2.
Yeah.
Mine. And it is so, that is so accurate. Toxic nostalgia. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
I think I suffer from that actually.
I do.
I for sure do.
Come for the fantasy, stay for the self-help.
Hey. Yeah. That is so good. It should be on your merchandise. You know, like, these are the bookmarks we're giving away with the pre-order, and this is what they say.
Yeah.
It's so good. You've done such a great job. I will say to anybody who now obviously wants to read these, because you all probably do, when Violet called me to talk about book 2, she said, so what we're doing here is exchanging bad for worse. And I was like, whoa, I was not emotionally ready for the end of book 1. And even though I have read this more than once, it gets me every time. So like, this packs such a punch. It's funny. There's found family. There's blood family. There's problematic family. There's grief, but there's also first love. There's so much in here that you will love. And I want all of you to run out and read this. If you think that because it's YA, it's not in your wheelhouse, I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. This is just such an important story, and just a completely immersive world. Very cool. I like to say, if you liked The Scholomance, you would love this. The world building in here. Naomi Novik's A Deadly Education, you would love this. And then what else? What other vibes do we get from this? How did we comp this in your
I think
submission letter?
What was it? Urban fantasy or
it is urban fantasy.
Yeah. The comps. Oh crap. Now I'm blanking on what we. I think that might have been, or at least
we had to have comped A Deadly Education.
I think
it's like that. You know, in A Deadly Education, if you haven't read those, is about a school for sorcerers, but there are no teachers. The school is sentient and is always trying to murder the students. It's wonderful. So there is that sort of sentient space. The setting is very sentient, and I love it so much, and I can't wait for everybody to read it or listen to it. Yeah, the audio is I love the narrator. I heard her narrate, was it The Inheritance Games?
Yeah,
and that's what
I'm so glad. Bailey,
her name.
Bailey,
yes.
Yeah.
Bailey Carr,
Mhm.
right? CAR, Bailey Carr. And I heard her voice, and I thought, this is Cassie's voice. This is Cassie's voice. This is it.
It was so perfect. So
there's many formats in which you can enjoy this wonderful book, and keep an eye on Violet's social media for an announcement about book 2 when that is available to come into being.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. And if I can just plug one thing,
yes.
Even though I have an agent, there is nothing that I write that I will not pass through your very capable hands and big, beautiful brain before it reaches a publisher. Even though I have a very editorial agent,
yes, you do.
I still pass everything through Becca before I get.
It's very kind of you to say. I would at this point just be like angry about it if you didn't, because I need to know what happens next. So selfishly, you are stuck with me at least until the end of this series. And of course, I need all of the rom-com. I just, guys, there's a scene. I can't. There's a scene in the rom-com that like sometimes I think about it apropos of literally nothing, and it just makes me like snort giggle. It is so uproariously funny. So keep an eye on Violet. You should follow her on Instagram. You're at Violet Lumani, which I will put in the description of this video. And anywhere else that people should follow you?
On the street, or
yeah, like if we just
I love. Yeah,
no, definitely
I'm
approach.
active on Twitter, and Instagram are probably the two best.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's me too. Though Twitter, I've just been posting all of my Wordle scores.
Yeah. If you want to know how well I do in Wordle, follow me on.
Yeah, if you want to see only my best Wordle scores, follow me on Twitter.
Yes, yeah.
it's like the fantasy Wordle where I'm just like, got it in 3 again. Today was for me like a 6. I think a 5 or a 6. Today was really hard. We won't spoil it. We're not going to say it.
One of my friends found like a Wordle that you can select the word and then send your friends, and the word was Foretold, and it took me 6 tries to get it. He was like, are you for real right now? Like,
that's a little embarrassing, but yeah. That's a cool idea for like a title reveal. If you can ever like nail that, if you could just like kind of like lock yourself into a 5.
That's so smart.
But like Foretold has 8 letters. How does that even work?
Any length.
Oh, okay.
Hard one. Yes. So many letters, and it was literally I did like 3 iterations.
That's a great promo. Like that's a great promo for people to play Wordle with your title. I don't know. That's like someone should figure that out. It's not gonna be me, but
very funny. I was just like, okay, 6 tries. At least I got it in any.
Okay. Thank you so much to everybody who submitted a line today. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, and for everybody who's watching this on the replay. Thank you to Violet Lumani. I adore you. And thanks for just geeking out with us and revealing your secret talent, your hidden talent, which again, I think it's probably the coolest one ever. Like I can cook well, but you can murder at a distance, which is like honestly very functional. So we're super happy for you about that, and a little afraid. So thank you. Everybody, you can look for this replay within the next 24 hours on Instagram and on YouTube, and I will be back tomorrow with another First Line Frenzy post. Watch the feed, work on your novels, and we'll see you soon.
Well, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.